Hello, everyone. It's me, Mitch Murphy, the Redpill Rapper with Thoughtcrimes.ca. I'm here today with a very special guest. I never asked you, did you want to stay anonymous, or where are you at with that?
My name is Suzanne Robertson.
One of the most wanted thought criminals in Canada. I keep hearing about. I've been following your online presence for a little while, and I've been very impressed. You've got a very good vibe on my Facebook feed. I really appreciate everything that you put on there.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm just trying to fight the good fight.
That's it. Someone has to, right?
Right.
All my friends keep telling me to stay home. They don't think there's anything to fight. It's amazing.
That's the sad thing, is people don't want to believe, even when the government is telling them the truth about this virus, they don't want to believe it. It's like they close their ears to it all.
Yeah, it's incredible because as far as I can tell, it's all right there. Now, if you were to boil it down, like, what is it for you that made you join this cause? Like, if you were to, because obviously there's a lot going on, like we could go on forever about the PCR test, about the restrictions of rights and freedoms. Like, what is it for you that's really brought you into this?
Well, for me, it started with me losing my job because of this. They closed down the restaurants and I have not been working for 9.5 months. And then it turned into my son not going to school and being around his friends and socializing as he should be. So he sits at home with his computer, and he's got like 2 or 3 friends that are allowed to come over. Mm-hmm. But even that's like very not so often.
It's heartbreaking. Like, everybody screeches at us and we don't care about the old people, right? But that none of these people are worried about the kids. Like, we are just robbing them of their childhood. Like, how old is it? You said it's your son, right? How old is your son?
He's 16. And you are absolutely right. I was just reading a story today how much childhood suicides have increased during the pandemic. So we need to look at these things. These are the things that I'm worried about. I talk to my son every day about this because I am so worried that that's going to be him one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. I was talking to someone the other day. I shouldn't say who it is, but they've got parents, and the way that they did Christmas was they met up with their kids outside and they exchanged gifts outside in like minus 15 degrees, Celsius for the Americans listening. What would that be? Like minus? No, that'd be, I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit. Who cares? We don't like it.
5 degrees, I think. 0 to 5 degrees around there somewhere.
Yeah, something like that. So they meet up outside wearing diapers, and they exchange gifts. Like, they would walk over, put the gift on the ground, and then walk back, and then they would pick up the gift. And at the end, they wanted to hug, and with the masks on, they literally put plastic bags over thetheir heads and hugged. And I know it's not funny, but it is funny, and it's it's like this is not some like crazy meme that I saw on Facebook. Like, I know this person. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I saw one of my friends, actually, they posted the same type of picture, not with the plastic and all, but they exchanged gifts outside and built a snowman and then went home. That was their Christmas with their family members. And I have to say, even with my boyfriend's family, they're very indoctrinated by this all, and they didn't have him over for Christmas. So we had to be like ninjas and drop the gifts off on the front porch without them even seeing us. It was the most ridiculous thing.
It's incredible. And something that's been really obvious to me, and I think if more people looked at what I'm about to say with some like real reverence, I think a lot more people would come on our side, is that like the real divide is that people like you and me, we don't believe what we see on the TV, right? We don't believe in Don Lemon. We don't believe in these people. Right. And we have our own sources, right? And like, let's take one of these something that one of these maskers, right? A tinfoil masker, what they would think of us, right? Is, let's say that mainstream media was saying there's nothing to worry about. There's no virus, but Alex Jones and QAnon and like Anomaly and all these online voices, and they were all saying, no, there is this deadly virus coming from China that came from a bat, and you have to put a plastic bag over your head when you hug your kids, and you have to stay inside and don't leave your house. So, like, to me, it's really obvious that the normies have become these like fever dream conspiracy nutcases, and where like with the conspiracy theorists are eating vegetables and hugging their friends and going to church. It's amazing.
I have literally in the last 9 months given out over 20,000 unsanitized, unmasked hugs to complete strangers, and I can't even get a simple cold. You know why? Because I use my immune system to keep me healthy, just like I have done over the last 47 years. I've done nothing differently. In fact, I put myself out there even more so this year. Mm-hmm. I should be infected. I should be infected 100 times over, but either the virus isn't what they make it out to be, or I'm just good at playing tag with it.
Right. And where are you? Like, obviously, I don't need your home address, but like, whereabouts are you?
I live in Burlington, Ontario, which is close to Toronto.
Okay. Isn't Randy Hillier from around there?
He's not. He's about 3 hours from me.
Okay. Well, I think
just like him, just like Randy did. Randy had 15 people over at his house on Christmas Day. I had 12 with 6 different households, and I was actually surprised because I've been protesting outside our premier's door for the last 10 weeks that the police weren't sitting outside my door.
Yeah. I've been kind of looking over my shoulder a little bit myself, because I'm as far as I can tell, I'm the most vocal person in my community, you know, is because I live in a smaller town in the Okanagan, right by Kelowna.
Yep.
And yeah, I haven't had the police bug me or anything. It was funny. I was walking home from the gas station the other day with a bottle of water, and a cop car was driving by, and he really quickly pulled a U-turn and then pulls up right beside me, and he rolls the window down, and I just thought like, oh shit, it's the thought police. Here we go. But he rolls it down and he starts laughing. He goes, "Oh, I thought that was a bottle of vodka. Have a great night." And then he drives off.
Well, the police, I'm sure they love me. I've already received a charge for protesting outside of Doug Ford's house. It holds up to a year in jail and $100,000 fine for having 32 people outside.
Wow, man! Wow.
Yep.
So you personally,
and they've threatened me with many more. They've threatened me with so many more too, but they haven't given it to me yet.
Did the fine have your name on it, or how did that go?
Oh yeah, hold on here. Let me just find my little charge over here. I have it hanging on the fridge.
You should frame it maybe.
I know I ruined it a little bit, but we're putting it in the COVID Hall of Fame. But yeah, it's they even had my driver's license and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually had the police officer. He threatened me at Doug Ford's with this charge, and I walked away, and he actually followed me downtown Toronto, which is like 45 minutes from Doug's house, just to give it to me.
Wow. Okay, now I got to talk to you about this, because I remember when Doug Ford got elected, and it was right around the time, it was like at the very beginning of the Trump era, and it was when Bolsonaro got in. And I mean, everybody knows issues with Bolsonaro. I don't mean to like make it sound as if I'm this big Bolsonaro fan or anything, but what I saw happening was a populist wave, and I was so excited. I thought, man, it's too bad that Rob Ford kicked the bucket, but Doug Ford is coming in, and he started slashing regulation and shrinking government, and I was so happy. I thought, man, these globalists can, like, I'm sorry for being crude, but these globalists can suck my dick. I am so happy to see all these like right-wing populists getting into power and doing something. This is so much fun. And like, what happened? What happened to him?
Well, personally, okay, so first let's go back. I want to go back and let everybody know that I helped get Doug Ford elected. I worked on his campaign. I was pretty close with him, and like I'm on his Instagram and in the newspaper with him, and
wow.
I helped organize all his Ford Fest. So
really?
I'm sorry. I am so sorry to all my fellow Ontarians for what I did. But at the same time, I'm going to give him a little bit of credit that if Kathleen Wynne was still in power, it would be a whole lot worse.
And who is Kathleen? Sorry?
Kathleen Wynne is the former Liberal Premier of Ontario.
Okay. Was she conservative, or what party was she?
No, she was Liberal. She was very Liberal.
Ugh.
Very Liberal. But then, so we'll get back to this. So I personally believe that it happened around Easter of this year. Doug Ford's mother-in-law, she got the COVID diagnosis. We've never heard of anything since, but from that day, he has changed his tune. He completely did a 180 and turned into the biggest Liberal I have ever seen. He has destroyed our province more than any Liberal ever has. But so I personally believe that they're blackmailing him with something. I'm not sure what, but this is not what anybody elected Doug Ford for. And any conservative, even the conservatives, are just absolutely loving the job he's doing. And which baffles me, because the number one conservative value is less government control. And yet Doug Ford has taken more control over our lives than any premier or politician ever has in Ontario.
Yeah, I find it to be so disturbing, so disturbing, because I've never seen a shift like that. Because I mean, this guy ran his whole platform and ran the early days of being elected with that idea. And like I remember, because I'm in BC, right? All my friends are communist tree huggers, and I love them. You know, they're great. And we need people like that, right? Just like the world needs people like you and me. We need people like that to you know, balance the scales. But they were all complaining about this tree planting committee or some government entity that was committed to planting a bunch of trees, and everyone was super upset that he slashed it. And I thought, yeah, you know, I like trees. What's going on? And I looked into it, and and I'm gonna get the numbers wrong, but you'll get the idea. Is that this entity had promised that they would plant like 10 million trees by 2030 or whatever, and they had planted like 400,000.
Right.
And I was looking at it, and
that was another Liberal initiative that never took off. And I laughed at all the Liberals who were complaining about that, because we spent all this money, gave all this money to this company to plant the trees, and I think it was like 10% of what they were supposed to plant, they actually planted. Yeah.
And so it showed me, okay, this guy believes in the, you know, private enterprise, and he believes that the free market can do it better. But all of a sudden he's presented with this problem, right? We got the Kung Flus coming in, we got this problem, and all of a sudden anybody who doesn't believe that government is the only answer is a Yahoo. In his words, right? I just can't wrap my head around it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
One thing you got to do is check out the Yahoo song on YouTube. It's the best thing ever.
Oh, I will. Is that your song, or whose song is that?
No, my friend made it, but it's absolutely amazing. I listen to it several times a day.
Awesome. Cause the Yahoo Nation, that's you and your friends, isn't it?
Oh, that's definitely me and my friends. And it was actually my friend. He was originally talking about my friend Vanessa, because she was the first one to hold the Canadian flag upside down. So he wasn't talking about all of us at that point. He was just talking about her and her upside down Canadian flag. Mm-hmm. He didn't like that, but he doesn't understand what an upside down Canadian flag represents.
It means a country in distress, does it not?
That's absolutely what it means. And we have never been in more distress than we are today.
Yeah. And it's the distress is not the main, as far as I'm concerned, the main distress is not the sickness, right? It's not the virus. It's the implementation of these new regulations.
Well, absolutely. It's taken away all my rights and freedom. And if anybody wants to see, there's the Charter of Rights right there. If I can't, you know, I have a lot of Liberals say, well, your freedom hasn't been taken away. So I asked them, okay, well, are you allowed to cross the border to go visit your friends? Can you drive across and go see your friends and family? No, you can't do that. Can your child go and play hockey?
Yeah.
No, he can't. Can you take your mother to see a play? No, you can't. Can you have your friends and family over for Christmas? No, you can't. So what freedom is not being taken away?
Yeah. Can you go to church? Right. To me, that's.
Can you go to church?
Yeah.
Holy cow. What they're doing to the churches is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. I can't believe it. I've been trying to think, like, if I could find a based pastor, you know, a pastor out here like Hildebrandt, right? Somebody like that, that could hold a sermon in the middle of Costco, you know, and like, whatever, I'll wear my diaper, we'll do whatever. Can we just go to the fruits and vegetables section and worship? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's amazing.
Might as well, right? The Costco app in my neighborhood holds 500 people. They're allowed 500 people, and the Walmart, I think, was 462 or 467, but you can't have 20 people in a church to worship.
It's unbelievable, but just trust the experts, hey? Just trust those experts. And you had a run-in with a health expert too, didn't you, the other day?
Well, we protested at Eileen DeVilla's home. She's the Toronto health expert. Mm-hmm. And on the very same day that we went to her house, so she lives in a very rich area of Toronto. Her house is probably $1 million or $2 million. And we're pulling up to go protest, and there's a wedding out on her street. Over 25 people outside for a wedding. The mandates in Toronto at that time were only 10. It was the exact same day she shut down Adam's restaurant. So she shut down Adam's restaurant for breaking COVID rules, but her rich folk neighbors were okay to break the rules. And the police were literally parked like 25, maybe 50 feet away from all these people and did nothing but shut down Adam.
Tickets for thee, but not for me, hey?
Well, correct. I'm sure you saw that our Ontario finance minister is on vacation right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But of course, right? And it's so funny. And I think a mistake a lot of people on our side make is that, and I don't think you're doing this, but I've noticed a lot of people will shame him for going on vacation, right? And I get that response. It makes sense, but I don't think he's a bad person for taking a trip, no. You know? And I think
absolutely not.
I think that's great.
Absolutely not. I absolutely applaud anybody flaunting the rules. Mm-hmm. What I don't like is the hypocrisy. Exactly. Don't tell me I can't do something when this finance minister, this is his second vacation abroad I think he went in August. So in the past 4 months, he's taken 2 trips abroad. So, but don't come and tell me that I can't have my family members over when you're going on vacation. And let's remember that most of the people coming into Canada have not even had to quarantine. The Canadian citizens have to quarantine,
right?
But most of them have not had to quarantine. I think it was at last count, like that I read, was 50 million people had entered since March that didn't have to quarantine.
Yeah, it's incredible. And just, I mean, I want to preface what I'm about to say by saying that I don't give a shit about this new strain. I don't know. I'm not even like a denier, right? Like it might exist. I don't know, but I just don't care. You know, as far as I'm concerned, it's just another germ. But I find it incredible that while all of our people, the Canadian people are at home and wearing their diapers and doing all these things, we get this variant from the UK. And we've still got people coming in from China. Like you can fly to Wuhan and fly back right now. It's incredible. Like I've said for a long time, I'll start listening to these so-called experts when the solutions make sense, right? But I'm not going to sit in my home if you're flying all these people in and out because it doesn't make sense. So I'm not going to listen, you know, as far as I'm concerned.
And anyway. The flights haven't stopped. I remember watching the flight trackers back in March and April, and they weren't stopping. And yet I think I just read, I think it was 13 flights this month that have arrived, maybe even more, that have arrived in Canada with COVID positive people on them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it really makes no sense. You know, I've always said we need to protect the vulnerable. I mean, at last count, I think it was like 150 deaths happened outside of long-term care facilities. Mm. So these are the people we need to protect. But at the same time, it just goes to show you that the masks do not work, because these workers in the long-term care facilities are mandated to wear masks all day long and change them in between patients. Yet 99% of the deaths are coming from long-term care facilities. So tell me how that makes sense.
Yeah, and so a struggle I've had is that, because I bring that up to people, right, that disagree with me, and they, every single time without fail, they make the assumption that what I'm saying is that it's just old people, right? What do we care? It's just old people. But that's not it at all. It's that that's where the problem is. That's where people are dying. That's where, like, instead of testing the whole population and treating everybody like they're sick, why not test everybody before they go into a care home? I don't, that doesn't seem so crazy to me. I don't understand.
Correct. Test them. But even that, at the same time, we're going to come up with these tests that are completely irrelevant, because it's testing for a virus. Like, and they're going so far up into your like blood-brain barrier that they're just grabbing any old dead piece of virus that you had floating around.
Oh, I wish Carrie Mullis was alive today. Can you imagine the things he would say? It would be amazing.
Isn't it amazing that all these people that we need to be talking happened to just die before COVID-19 came out?
That sounds like conspiracy theory, Suzanne.
I know, but it seems to me like I need a new conspiracy theory, because every single one of mine have come true now. So I'm looking for some new ones, folks.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know what to say to people anymore, because it's right there.
I just talk about it so often, and it's like I'm repeating the same things over and over and over again to people. But I always tell people to look at it this way. Back in March or February, they were showing us people dying on the streets in China, just dropping dead of COVID-19. Bam, dead. And then when that wasn't scaring us too much, they moved over to Italy. Mm-hmm. But we never saw anybody dropping dead in Italy. And then they moved over to the United States when Italy wasn't scaring us enough. And still, nobody dropping dead like they did in China. But mm-hmm. Nobody thinks about these things. Nobody thinks anymore at all. They want to listen to what their TV is telling them, and they really want to believe that this is a virus, and it very well may be a virus. I'm not saying that it's not, but it's like any other virus. Viruses kill people, and viruses may kill some healthy people, but most likely it's going to kill the vulnerable. Those who have underlying conditions, those who may have been killing themselves with their unhealthy lifestyles all their life. Mm-hmm. But now you want me to be responsible for your health. And I can tell you a story about, and I'm not fat shaming anybody, but I had a 400-pound neighbor come over who has not taken care of her health in the 16 years I've lived here. Mm-hmm. She comes over with her can of Coke, huffing and puffing, telling me how she's got underlying conditions and she's got COPD. And my first response is, you eat fries and gravy on a daily basis and smoke a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. And now I'm responsible for your health.
Yeah.
I've never been responsible for anybody's health but mine and my family's.
Yeah, and this is where my resentment for Doug Ford again comes in, is because I would be making a lot of the same arguments if this virus had a 75% death rate. You know what I mean? Where I don't believe that authoritarianism is the best way to get through this, because I believe in individualism, and that and that's why it blows my mind to see Doug Ford reacting the way that he is because like the principles that he believes in don't stop when there's a problem, which we have, there's a problem, but the principles are the same. You're not supposed to completely flip and become a communist. I just don't get it. But I wanted to ask you, because something happened to you the other day. You had a raving tinfoil mask health expert coming at you, and I'm dying to hear about it, because that picture you sent me, I honestly, when I'm upset, I just look at that picture and I laugh. I just laugh.
That's
It makes
my
me
little
so
Karen.
happy.
That's my little Karen. Well, that actually happened 2 months ago when we went out to Elmer to support the Church of God family in the Hildebrands. And Mr. Karen in the blue decided he was a tough guy and threatened to kick my teeth in. And I'm not sure if you saw the whole video. You got to watch the video, because as soon as I went up, and I went right up to his face, I was born and raised in the hood. These people don't scare me. So I went right up to his face and I asked him, "Are you going to kick my teeth in?" And all of a sudden he got really nice and he's like, "No, I didn't mean you." And I turned around to the crowd and I'm like, "Well, which one of my 2,000 friends did you mean?" And he just like went on a rant and a pant. And then the other day he came back into my life because we found out he was the organizer of the Rat Plague tour that was going around to the Church of God, the Church of God community members, and harassing them, honking their horn, yelling obscenities outside some of the senior citizens' doors. So I'm working on a payback for him. I think he's going to get his own little Rat Plague tour. Because one thing I don't appreciate is people harassing Pastor Hildebrand. This man, I mean, he's brought God into my life. I was never, I'm not claiming to be Christian. I never really believed in God, but he makes me want to learn about it. And he's such a gentle man, and his family and his whole community is absolutely amazing. They would give their shirt off their back for you. And to see them being harassed because they are fighting for their freedom to have their church service.
It's amazing. I've been keeping my eye on this group called Masks Over Hugs.
Oh, they love me. They love me on that group.
Yeah, they do. And I stay real quiet in the group because I don't want to get kicked out, because it's funny, first of all, and I also want to know what they're thinking too, right? Hey, who knows? Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm the crazy one. So let's hear them out.
Right.
Not that they would ever give me the same, respect, but these people are the most spiteful, hateful degenerates I've ever seen. And they're really pushing this plague pastor narrative, and I'm seeing them organize these counter rallies, or whatever you would call them.
Well, if you want to call that, they had 8 people show up the other day.
That's amazing. Standing up for your not having any rights and freedoms, hey? Like, just
protest. Like, I couldn't believe that they were protesting against people protesting.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense at all.
And that is a trend that I've noticed for a while. And I've never really been vocal about too vocal, especially online, about my beliefs up until the lockdowns. But because I've just noticed things for the last, probably since about 2010, something like that, is that every big protest movement that I've seen, and every big movement in general, is basically begging to have rights taken away from us. Like I remember the March for Our Lives, right, where they had that David Hogg, and they're marching down the street begging the government to take guns away from hunters. You know what I mean? And I've noticed that time and time again, that we are, like, the general population does believe that that's what's best, is that they believe that we can't handle freedom. They believe that we can't handle having guns, and we can't handle having a right to self-autonomy and a right to controlling your own health. And like, they actually don't believe in that. And I don't know what happened. Like, I'm curious what you think about that, because I don't know how we got here.
Well, you got to go back to who came into power into 2009 in the United States, right? Mm-hmm. The liberals went crazy when Obama was voted in. And it only trickled over into Canada, where you're absolutely right. Like, they don't think that we can handle any freedom, or I don't even know the word. Like, I don't even know what to say about these people anymore. It's just like, they want to take everything away, but they have no problem talking about autonomy for their body, you know, if they're going to have an abortion.
Right.
Like what happened to their liberal mantra, my body, my choice? They've expected us to say, okay, and I've said it, you want to have an abortion. Okay, I can't tell you what you can do with your body. All that I hope is that you don't use abortion as a means of birth control. But that is your choice. That's your body. And our government pays for your abortion. So now on the flip side, they're saying, no, it's not your body and it's not your choice. You have to listen to the government. Mm-hmm. I just can't wait until they take away abortions and see what happens. But I will say that I think that if a conservative government had have mandated this, so say Andrew Scheer had have been voted in and he mandated this, the Liberals would have gone nuts. In Ontario, if the Liberals had have mandated this instead of Doug Ford, the Conservatives would have gone nuts. But because their own individual parties are in power, they absolutely love it. Like, I can't believe the amount of Conservatives in Ontario who are for such government control over their lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you guys have it worse than us over there, which is mind-boggling in and of itself, because we've got the NDP, we've got the New Communist Party,
which is surprising.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure it out, because I think it's my ego. I'm inclined to think that it's because of our protest movement, because it's been fairly large from the very beginning. But I'm a lot of people that I talk to, they think that it's because of the China's influence in this province in particular, which is something I'm starting to come around to. It's an interesting theory, right?
I can't remember the exact percentage, but at the beginning of the pandemic, I was researching it, and it's such a huge number that Chinese entities own of the long-term care facilities in BC. And I'm sure they own so many more businesses, so they don't want to be locked down. They don't want to lose their money. Mm-hmm. They don't want to lose their businesses. So I guess money talks, right?
Yeah.
Money talks, CC government talks, and they've got their way.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm absolutely surprised that you guys aren't locked down further than we are.
Yeah, and I mean, logically, I guess it makes sense, because I think we're a lot more spread out than you guys, right? Right. So I mean, if we were to give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe that's why, but I don't know. I just know I don't trust any of these people, and I don't think they have our best interests at heart, and I don't like it. I sure don't like it. And are you guys, do you find with the general population, like your friends that you had before this that you didn't really talk about politics with and stuff like that, are you guys pretty demonized, with you and other people in the movement?
Well, absolutely. I think I've lost 99% of my friends that I may have had for like 30, 40 years. Mm-hmm. I think 3 have stuck by me because they're awake and they understand what's going on. But like family members, they all think I'm crazy. They didn't think I was crazy 9 months ago. They didn't think I was a conspiracy theorist 9 months ago. But because I'm going against what they believe in and what the TV is telling them to believe in, all of a sudden I'm the crazy one. I need help. I need to get on medication. Yet they've never said that to me ever. And they've always because I've always been a person, I stand up for what I believe in. And, I've got unions into my workplaces to protect the employees. And they were all happy about that when I was putting my job on the line to help them. But now all of a sudden I'm crazy, mm-hmm. and I need help.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's hard. I think every single person that I know that has gotten involved has lost friends, you know, and it's even harder when it's family members. But something again, I just can't wrap my head around it, because what I wish people would understand is that even if we're wrong, you know, let's say the virus is even worse than they're saying on the news, right? And let's say that we're wrong about the science and all these things. I think that it's undeniable that when government expands power, and everybody would agree they're expanding power right now, right? I think everybody can agree that they don't tend to give it up. You know, like the income tax was supposed to be a temporary measure to fund World War II, right? And so at the very least, this movement is decreasing the possibility that they will cling on to these powers at the very baseline minimum thing. And so like that is my argument against these people name calling and you know, hating on us, really. Like I just, the vitriol is so brutal, and that honestly is what
ridiculous.
That's really what's got me convinced that we're correct. It's like the programming comes out, right? Like I'm sure you see it where people drive by a protest, they got their diaper on and their little goggles, and they give you the middle finger.
Like sticking their fingers up at me.
It's just a program.
I've been coughed on by these people. I've been told that they hope I die. They hope my whole family gets the virus and dies. You know, these are the very same people who are wearing a mask to protect me, because remember, they're wearing a mask to protect me, and I'm not wearing a mask to protect them. Mm-hmm. But they want me to die. The way I put it, they have become the very people that they claim to hate.
I think
it's absolutely disgusting. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting what these people have become. And like friends of mine, like people I work with, my coworkers are saying these things to me. They hope I die. And I'm like, you hope I die, but you're wearing a mask to protect me. Yeah. Disgusting.
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess you must get a sense of entitlement or something when everything on the news is encouraging you, right? And every distinguished person, every politician, every bank, you know, every corporation is telling you that, you know, that this is what the truth is. I guess you must just kind of feel that entitlement or something. I don't know what it is, but it must be something like that.
But at the same time, I post, like, I don't go on social media to get my facts. I go straight to the source. I go to the Ontario website. I go to the Canada website. I post information from National Institute of Health, Statistics Canada. You know, I'm posting the facts for them. Like, it's right here in black and white. I remember I posted a couple months ago, 2 months ago, I think it was, Jason Kenney made a big statement, and I thought it was great for at least a week. I thought it was great, but he made a whole statement. He came out and said, you know, he was very sorry that, you know, back in March, they were afraid, they didn't know what was going on, and they closed businesses, and they shouldn't have. He stated that the statistics in Alberta, 78.8% of the deaths were people who had 3 or more underlying conditions. That only 11 people at that time that were healthy had died of COVID-19. But when I posted that, people didn't want to hear that. They didn't want to hear when the government is actually telling you the truth. People don't want to hear it. They just want to see, oh my God, we had 2,533 cases of COVID-19 today, but they don't want to actually look into it. That's what they're afraid of. Oh my God, because they think that means deaths.
Yeah.
When they do, it means absolutely nothing. It's a positive case, and 99% of those who test positive don't even have a symptom. They don't have a sniffle. They don't have, you know, even a drop coming from their eye. Like, they have nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think really what we got to do, I believe, is just more people got to speak up, because I know a lot of people that see what's going on and they stay home. You know, they just don't want to ruffle any feathers. But but Suzanne, if you were president of Canada, what would you do? What's the answer?
the answer is to protect our seniors and allow everybody the liberty and the freedom to live their lives as they have every day. Every single day. Okay, 9 months ago, we were allowed to do whatever we wanted. If we want to get on a motorcycle and put our life at risk, if we want to drink alcohol until we die, until it gives us liver cirrhosis, if we wanted to do drugs, we could do whatever we wanted because that was our right. That was our liberty to protect our health the way we want to. I would give that back to Canada. I would protect our vulnerable. I don't even know what the answer is in protecting them because I don't understand why 99% of the deaths are coming from long-term care facilities, except for the fact that these people are in there for a reason. You're not in a long-term care facility because you're healthy and you can take care of yourself. You're in there for a reason. You can't take care of yourself, you're sick, you're on your last legs. So those same people would die from the flu, a cold, pneumonia, whatever. Those are the ones we need to protect. But at the same, I don't know the answer on how to protect them because they are being protected. They've got the masks. The workers are wearing the masks and changing them and sanitizing like crazy and, lathering up in that sanitizer and disinfecting everything. So what is the answer? What is the answer? Is it really, are they really dying of COVID-19? Because it's odd that that's the only thing people are dying of now. And I say all the time, 10 years ago, my mother had lung cancer and she was dying. It ravaged her immune system and she got the rotavirus because there was an outbreak at the hospital, which turned into pneumonia, which essentially took her life. They didn't list the pneumonia as her cause of death. They listed the cancer that was taking her life for the past year. However, today, if she had COVID-19, it turned into pneumonia and she died, she would be listed as the COVID-19 death. So I want to know the accurate numbers. I want to know the accurate numbers today of who had underlying conditions, how many. They're all, those people weren't healthy to begin with, and that's why they're in those facilities. So just give us the truth for a change. And then protect them. Do what we can to protect them. And I'm not even sure what the answer is because nothing they've done in 9 months is protecting these people. Absolutely nothing.
I'm curious if you know about this because I've noticed, especially out of your province, I keep seeing the phrase, and it seems like they've trickled it in slowly, is the COVID-related deaths. Like, do you know what that means? What does that include suicides or what's the...
Yeah, so they did say not too long ago that it does include suicides. And actually the Toronto public health officer, she tweeted out in August that people who die with COVID, but not of COVID, are listed as dying of COVID-19. So they're just listing, you've tested positive, say, in the past week, but you got shot in the head and all of a sudden you're listed as dying of COVID-19. I remember back in the beginning, and it did freak me out a little bit, but a friend of mine, her grandmother, she was dying already, and they told her that the grandmother got the COVID-19 and died of it. But the family was outraged and wanted the death certificate changed to the cancer she was dying of and the Alzheimer's. She had Alzheimer's and cancer at the same time. But
what?
She died with COVID-19, had no symptoms, but that was listed as her cause of death. Not the thing she was dying of.
That is very cut and dry. Very cut and dry as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And I mean, the health minister, it's not even Ontario. I've heard health ministers across the world. I think the first one I heard was in England, stating that people who die with COVID-19, but not of COVID-19, are listed as dying of COVID-19.
Yeah. I can't.
sorry, back in April, I believe it was, in New York City, they declared 3,800 people who died of COVID-19 who had not even been tested.
Wow.
Not even been tested, but they died of the COVID-19. So they're overinflating these numbers for whatever reason, to scare us, to control us.
Mm-hmm.
And then even when they do tell you the truth, people don't listen.
Yeah. Well, and my show is called the Redpill Rapper Show, right? And I do like to do deep dives into all kinds of different conspiracy theories, adrenochrome and Hollywood, all these different things that are going on. But I think it's really important to also step away from that and just look at it, because like I think the way that a lot of these things happen, I do believe in conspiracy, right? I do think that a lot of things are intentional, but
Absolutely.
but if you look at like in the hospital, right, with all these deaths going on, I think that a lot of these doctors and a lot of these nurses and morticians and all these people that are a part of this process, I think that they're hyped up with all this information, right, about how this big spooky bad man virus is coming through, and they're told we are in the middle of a global pandemic, and so what we need you to do is be efficient. And so if you see someone that has a runny nose that has died, just write it as COVID and move it on and move on to the next one. And they're told, you're a hero, move on to the next one, just do it. And a lot of these people are they're cogs in a machine, and a lot of them are heroes, a lot of them are heroes, and a lot of them are saving lives, but they're making a mistake because they're not taking a step back and thinking about the form that they're filling out. And they're not thinking about what's really going on. And also they're not thinking about what is happening with these numbers, because they send the numbers up, and then all these talking heads on TV tell us what to think about the numbers, where they don't. And I think that there's a lot of dark stuff going on, and I think that this reset is coming in, and I think it's intentional. But I think the vast majority of people that are a part of it, they're just following orders, and they're just doing their thing. They don't know what's going on.
Doing their job.
Yeah.
And what happened to autopsies? Did they just stop doing autopsies all of a sudden? Because isn't that what you're supposed to do when you do not know what somebody died of? You're supposed to do an autopsy to determine, because it could be anything. But they just stopped. The morgue is absolutely empty because they're just getting shipped off to the funeral homes, and nobody's getting an autopsy done anymore, which is the craziest thing. I don't understand that. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, and then there's the silencing too. Like I had a paramedic that wanted to come on the show, because this paramedic was telling me that there are COVID patients going in the hospital, and there are people sick with this virus. But this person was telling me, you wouldn't believe the number of opioid overdoses that we're seeing. And this person was saying it's daily. These people are ironically, they're dropping dead like a Chinese propaganda film. They're dying like that in the street all the time. And it's like a zombie apocalypse out there. And this paramedic wanted to come on the show to talk about it, but that was basically told that they would be fired. They would be fired if they came out and said an opinion that was outside of interior health. It's amazing.
Well, that just happened. So a few weeks ago, there's a paramedic that comes to our rallies in Toronto, and she was out on a call for an overdose. She was in a building, and it was very dark. So she's all PPE'd up. She's got her mask on and everything. And it was so dark, and she's trying to administer an intravenous into this addict's arm, and her co-worker's holding a flashlight. And because of everything, all the PPE, she ended up sticking herself with the needle after it went into the gentleman.
Oh no.
So, and she was telling me that most of her calls these days are for opioid overdoses. And you got to think, especially around Christmas. I mean, Christmas is a lonely time. People are stressing on how they're going to get presents for their family in a regular year. Imagine not having a job, being stuck at home, constantly thinking and worrying, because that's all you're doing. You're just sitting there going, how am I going to pay my bills? How, my business is destroyed. How am I going to do this for my children? And it plays on you. And eventually the mental health issue takes over, and you're going to numb yourself whatever way you can. And I think I heard at last count, the overdoses and suicides had increased 40% over this pandemic. And nobody talks about that. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about the repercussions of the lockdowns. Nobody cares about the amount of businesses destroyed. I read the other day, 10,000 restaurants in Canada have permanently closed. We have 2 in my city that have been here for almost 40 years, both of them, both closed. And now imagine, like, you're that business owner, and now you've lost your business may be bankrupt, you're worrying about that, you have nothing to do, so now you're sitting at home just spewing or stewing. So, maybe you're going to get into the opioids, or maybe you're just going to drink yourself to death, but it's happening, and people don't understand the mental health aspect of it all. And that's the saddest part, is people don't care about those deaths. They don't care that your 16-year-old kid committed suicide because he can't be with his friends, and he's not socializing, and he's not having a normal childhood, and he's not getting his education. They don't care about that. They care that you might kill grandma.
Yeah, I know for me, I've gone to Alcoholics Anonymous for probably 3 years now. I think February will be my 3 years sober. And I remember when
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's alcohol is my thing, right? I never got into the hard drugs like that. But when they closed the churches, they closed the AA meetings, and the liquor stores stayed open. And during that time period, I'll never forget that. But and I made it through, right? And I praise Jesus for that one, honestly. It just, after going through that, I can't bring myself to take anybody seriously that calls me selfish for going to a rally. I really can't, because that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. And anybody who wants to call me names or make fun of me or laugh at me or whatever for standing up for the literally just standing up for the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. If they can abide by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, I'm not going to go to a protest anymore. Maybe I'll even stay home. Who knows? But I can't take anybody seriously when they're making fun of me for saying that that's not okay, because it's just not. It's just not okay, and it's not right, and there's obviously something going on. And call me whatever you want, but it's the truth. It's just the truth.
Right. And it's like children go to school. Some children go to school to get away from their abusive households and to interact and have that socialization. Alcoholics, narcotic addicts, they go to their meetings because they need to be within their community as well and get their help. And again, like you said, they're all closed. You can't go to those meetings. And how essential is an AA meeting to an addict? I know my father was an addict, and he used to go like 3-4 times a week because he needed it. He needed to be with the community that understood him. I didn't understand alcoholism. I didn't understand what he was going through, but all those people did. And my dad was sober for 10 years, and he was still going, 3-4 times a week, because he knew, like, at any time he could break and he could relapse. But those people were the ones who kept him strong and kept him sober. It wasn't me. It was his friends who understood what he was going through. So just imagine, right? Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, you have to let people be free, man. You just do. Like I see all over my local Facebook groups and, community groups and that stuff, all these parents that are crapping their pants over the cases in the schools, right? And they're saying, oh, we got to close the schools. We got to close the schools. But like, these are the people that'll call me selfish when so I know that there are some kids that have an abusive stepdad at home that's going to, do whatever. And they've got drug addict parents that are using and all these things, and school is their only escape, and this is all they can do. So how about, if you think the schools should be closed, homeschool your kid. That's what you would do if they closed. Why do you have to make every other kid go to school? Like, that's a borderline abusive, you know, as far as I'm concerned. And that's selfish. You know, these are the same people that'll call us selfish. It's amazing.
Right. You're absolutely right. Like, I just don't get it. It's every day I just shake my head and it's like, I'm like, some of these people are very well educated, but you know, I've come to learn that book smarts is absolutely nothing, because these people have to be the dumbest people I've ever met in reality. Yeah, you've got a couple degrees under your belt, and yeah, you spent $100,000 for it, but my God, use your brain. Use your brain for a change. Turn off that TV. That's my main thing. Turn off your TV and actually do your research. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. I don't even turn my TV has not been turned on in 7 months. The last time I watched TV is I had a friend message me and they're like, go turn on the TV and turn on CNN. I'm like, oh my God, no. But it was the best time because it was when they were rioting in Atlanta at the CNN building, chasing all the workers upstairs. It was great.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Suzanne, I got to tell you, I use the word crazy as an endearing term for a lot of people, because I kind of consider myself to be crazy, and you know, lots of my friends are, and I think that a lot of crazy people are right about a lot of stuff, you know. But from talking to you, I don't think you're crazy.
No, I'm not crazy. I never have been.
Yeah,
I never have been crazy.
You're incredibly reasonable, as far as I can tell. You seem to have you just seem to be a very normal person, and I really actually appreciate it, because it's nice to just talk to a normal person that understands what's going on. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your online presence too, and the Yahoo movement out there. It's nice to see that it's all over this country. There's patriots everywhere, and a lot of us are standing up, and it's awesome. Yeah. I thank you for what you do.
I just want to say something before I go. I am not anti-mask. I am pro-medical freedom. I don't care if people wear a mask until the day they die. Just don't force it on me. Don't tell me how I should protect my health. You do what you want with your body, and let me do what I want with my body. And please, use your immune system. Your immune system didn't stop working 9 months ago.
God bless you.
It's been protecting your body from viruses that the TV has not told you about all your life. Start using it. Eat your fruits and vegetables, folks.
God bless you, Suzanne. You get it. Thanks so much for coming on. You're awesome.
Awesome.
All right.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. See you later, people.
Okay.
I just turned on the news, it sounds like I'm wanted. I'm just being honest with ya. I'ma tell ya that a week ago I was working hard, paying bills, making sure my government would get their fill. But now I gotta write out, will I really do something so motherfucking silly? They thinking that my gun's gonna walk about it safe and kill somebody. Would somebody count the bodies? 218 and 249. Not like 1995, we had 1125. Only cause they count the suicides now. Do you see how they be fucking with your mind? I'm just asking you, would you please mind your fucking mind about your fucking business time? Maybe if you heard it in a rhyme, it might sink in this time. They try to put these ideas all up in our minds, but these ideas are not yours or mine. In the light they will not shine. It's a plan to take our rights like every fucking time. So while the sheep will walk asleep, I'll boot out a call to all the people who put up with this shit at all. We gon' pull up on you, we gon' show you how the fuck we do. Pitchfork, tiki torch, I know that you've seen this shit before, but have you ever seen a right-wing populist uproar? Rob Ford ain't with us no more, and I'm sorry for the gory story, but if I believed in God's one and only son, I would beg him please give him back and take the other one. Now, I know that line was kinda savage, guess I better salvage. I'ma bend the knee, kiss the ring, get a shiny earring. As long as I never ring the wrong bells, well here goes. Alex Jones was right, Rogan lost the fight. Jake tapped out whenever BB raised his snout. Let me tell you what this shit is really about. Madhow's a mad cow, Ellen's a degenerate, and Anthony's wiener gets a whole lot deeper. Man, he ain't the only creeper, Clinton is a raper, but until you know it's true they're gonna deny, so they can be that orange guy and let Bill Gates block out the sky. We don't wanna be quiet, we just just wanna riot. We don't wanna be quiet, we just wanna riot. We don't wanna be quiet, we just wanna riot. We don't wanna be fucking quiet, we just wanna. While the sheep will walk asleep, I'll put out a call to all the people who won't put up with this shit at all. We gon' pull up on you, we gon' show you how the fuck we do. Pitchfork, tiki torch, I know that you've seen this shit before, but have you ever seen a right-wing populist uproar? Rob Ford ain't with us no more, and I'm sorry for the gory story, but if I believed in God's one and only son, I would beg him please give it back and take the other one now. We don't wanna be quiet, we just wanna riot. We don't wanna be fucking quiet. Trump might grab him by the pussy, but the state media's got us by the balls. Iraqi screams don't echo in their halls, they don't pick up our calls. Tell me why the fuck does the US always have to be the instigator? We should whip their leaders up against the wall like babies out of incubators. You should look that up later. I don't mean to be a hater, but I refuse to speak Mandarin later. Why'd we give manufacturing to those slavers? Our costs turn to slivers, but it gives me shivers to know that China's making all the ventilators. So while the sheep will walk asleep, I'll put out a call to all the people who won't put up with this shit at all. We gon' pull up on you, we gon' show you how the fuck we do. Pitchfork, tiki torch, I know that you've seen this shit before, but have you ever seen a right-wing populist uproar? Rob Ford ain't with us no more, and I'm sorry for the gory story, but if I believed in God's one and only son, I would beg him please give him back and take the other one now.